Hey class, Professor Z here, and today's video is all about the knock knock joke and how to do the editing process for it. So in the previous video that you've watched, it was how to shoot for the knock knock joke on the 3 different angles, so you make sure you have good coverage of the joke so that way you can stitch the conversation together and make it look like one cohesive take. And we're going to do that right here in Premiere Pro. So on my screen here, you see I have Premiere Pro open already. This is the first screen you'll see when opening the program. If it's your first time opening it, you'll probably have a splash screen on top of this that has a list of a lot of tutorials that you can watch. Adobe does have a great list of tutorials for all their products on their website, which I highly recommend for a deeper dive on anything, so that way you can understand it more, answer other questions that this video may not cover. Google and YouTube is a great resource as well to find other tutorials for their products. On this screen you can see I have a list of recent projects here, so once you start working in the program on a regular basis, you'll have your recent projects so you can easily open those. Today we're going to of course create a new project, so on the top left here I have the new project or open project buttons. I'm going to click on the new project and we're going to open that up into this screen. This is how you create your project. This is the new screen in Premiere Pro as a couple of years ago, and we're on the import tab. The first thing we need to do on our import tab is give it a name. I was in here earlier, so it already has the name I want, but by default it's going to say untitled. We need to change that. First thing to do, always rename your project to what you want to be. It's just something for you to keep track of what it is. When I work on bigger projects, I always include the date for that project if it's an event, so I can easily sort through my hard drives and find that. Next thing is we need to make sure we know where we save this. We need that project location. So I click on this link and choose my location, and that's going to come up here. I'm inside my CM102 folder. I want to create a new folder just for this project, which is a habit I have inside Premiere Pro. I always create folders for every project that I work with. And now I'm going to choose this here. This is where it's going to save. So now you can see up here I have my name and I know where it's going, that external hard drive, a folder, and there's the name of the folder that's inside of there. Now it's time to find the media I'm going to use. If we look at my Finder window, these are the 3 video files we're going to be using for this project. These 2 are the video files of the script itself, and this is my establishing shot that I recorded as well. So these are the files I'm going to use. I'm going to show you one of several different ways to get files into Premiere Pro in the import screen. So first thing we need to do is navigate to where those files are. So we're actually already inside the proper folder here. You can see we're inside the CM102 folder. I just had to click on it again to refresh the folder list to show that new folder that I made. That's where it's going to go, but that's not where it is right now. It's actually inside a different folder that's also inside of here. If it was in a memory card, maybe you'd have to click on like this memory card right here, and I could go in, and once I'm in there I can see my files. This is actually the wrong one. This is a different video clip from a different camera. So I'm going to just go ahead and go to the folders where I know they are. So inside here, go back one. They are inside my camera too. These are, I'm going to uncheck them for a second here. I just want to show you, if I put it into thumbnail view, you can actually drag your mouse head across here and see a preview of your files. So this is really nice. So if you have a lot of videos to go through and you want to select just the ones you need, you can actually kind of preview those beforehand before you do it. I do want all these, so I'm going to check all of them off. Now I could also have done that by hitting Command A and selecting them all. I can also lasso select around them. Oops. I can do a lasso select, and there they all are. Now on the right side here, there's an option here turned on right now called Copy Media. So if I shut this off, when I hit import, when I hit create actually, it won't move the files to that new folder. It would stay where they are. So the reason why I bring this up is if you were to plug in your memory card and just say import them from here, when you unplug that memory card, they're no longer in your project. Your computer can't find them. If you're going to do that way, usually I copy them to my hard drive first and then tell them where they are. By using this copy media, now I know that it's going to copy whatever I selected into the folder of my project. So maybe I'm using it from another source and I want to make sure all those files are locally in that side of that project folder. So I'll hit that copy media, and you can see it says copy files destination same as project. That's what I want to use. I always want it to go to the same as project. And I can do with or without verification. I'm leaving it on. Over here there's some other options that you could toggle on or off. You could automatically create a bin to put these into inside your folder. We're only using 3 files right now, so creating a bin might not be necessary, but if you wanted to create a bin, you could. You could also create a new sequence from the things we've selected already. It would automatically put them in a sequence. I don't want to check that off. I want to leave it where it is. I do want to turn on this new feature called automatic transcription. So turning this on, as it imports, it's also going to transcribe the dialogue in the video. So it'll create a transcript that you can edit from, or you can also use that transcript to create captions with later on, which I will show you. But by turning on here, it's going to save us a step later on, because otherwise I have to do it inside the editor program itself. So I'm going to keep it on here. We know we're in English. We're going to separate speakers. So we have 2 speakers. We can say yes, separate speakers. I'm going to say auto transcribe all imported clips. And now once I have all that done, on the bottom right here, I'm going to click the blue create button. Here's the 3 files that we imported. And what you didn't see on my other screen here, it also opened up Media Encoder. So because I said to copy those files and have the verification, Adobe Media Encoder, which also installs when you install Premiere Pro, has opened up and is going through and ingesting those files. So it is doing a little job here. It doesn't take long because they're short files. If you were doing a larger project with big files, this is something where I would want to set it up, then go have lunch and come back later, because it will take a while when you have a lot of files or larger files, because it's going through each file, and also depends on the speed of your hard drive and your computer and things like that. So we're just going to wait a moment for this to finish. And now that we have check marks on all our files, we know that we're done. So we can go back into here into Premiere Pro. And this is my basic view. I'm in the editing view. If it's your first time opening the program, you're probably in the learning view, which looks like this. It's going to have the tutorials on the left side here, and it's a great way to get started if it's your first time opening it. I'm going to change it back to the editing view, which I like to use. So on the top right here, this little icon is your workspaces. You can see I have a lot of different workspaces in here. We're just going to go to the editing view. So this has my basic view that is very familiar to a lot of editors. On the left side, we have our source window, which also includes our effects controls, audio clip mixer, metadata, and text for our clips and our sequences. On our right side is going to be our program. That's where we're going to see the final product. Bottom left is our project area. So this is where our files currently are. It's where our timeline is going to be. Our titles are stored there. We also have through here different tabs of media, browser, libraries, info, effects, markers, and history, which I'll get into a little bit. And then we have our sequence here, at the bottom here. Here's our toolbar, which moves around based on which program, which workspace we're in. And on the right side here, we have our audio or our VU meters. So if I double click on any of these on the left here, it opens up into my source window here, and you can then see, I'm just scrubbing through right here by dragging the playhead, and you can see the different things in here. So now it's time to create a sequence and then bring these clips in here. Now with this project, your first shot should be your establishing shot. That's your exterior shot of where the video takes place. Now it doesn't have to be the actual place. That's the trick of Hollywood and TV, right? The exterior shot's not where it actually is. You have a house for a sitcom. That's a house on a street somewhere, but the internal shot is of a set in Hollywood or in New York. So this clip right here is my establishing shot. Now I did a 10-second shot because I like to shoot 10 seconds by default as a minimum. I'm not going to use all 10 seconds of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skim through here. Maybe this is a good spot for it to start. and I want to mark an in point there. On the keyboard, the I is a shortcut to mark in. And then I'm going to go about 3 seconds. So these tall lines here are second markers. I'm going to click, hit the O key for out. And then we don't have a timeline created yet. I like to use my clips to create my timeline. That way it's the right settings. If you know what settings you need to do for projects later on, if you work for a warehouse or a editor or a film studio, they're going to have like this is the sequence settings, and you just put those in. For example, if I were to show you what file new sequence looks like, these are all the different sequence presets that you could possibly choose from and then still modify from. So it's a bit heavier to get into versus just clicking and dragging this down to my sequence area, and now it's created a sequence based off that clip. So the aspect ratio is correct, the timing is correct, all that stuff is correct, and now everything else in After here will adhere to that setting. And you can see here in my project window, it has created a sequence with the name of the clip on it. It has a different icon for sequence. I'm going to click on that and rename it to what the sequence is. Now I only have 4 objects here right now. If I do bigger projects, I like to make a bin to put things in, so I could right click, or I could click on this little new bin icon down here and create a bin maybe for my video clips. And then I can select all these video clips and put them in that bin. And then I can also make a new bin for my sequences, and then put my sequences in that bin. So that way, if I start getting larger and larger projects, I can start organizing where things are. My audio clips are here, my video clips are here, camera 1 is here, camera 2 is there. It's just a nice way to keep organized. Now with this clip, I actually don't need the audio from this establishing shot, so I'm going to mute that audio real quick here. And there's a couple ways to do that. I could just get rid of this audio altogether. So right now, as you see, when I click on the audio, both the video and audio are highlighted together. So if I were to hit delete, I lose both of them. So I'm just going to undo that real quick. Right here in my icons up here, I have this linked selection icon. If I turn that off, now I can click these individually and I could delete that. So that is one way of getting rid of that audio. Now I want to make sure I turn this back on, because when I start bringing other files in, I need that audio and video to stay in sync with each other. Another thing I could do, I'm going to undo, is I could just mute this part of the track. You know, I can mute the whole track, but then everything else after that will also be muted. I don't want to do that. I just want to mute this one part of the clip. So I can turn this volume down. And how I'm going to do that is, first I need to make this track a little taller so I can see another tool that's not visible right now. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to bring my mouse between audio 1 and audio 2 here, where the icon changes to these up and down arrows. I'm going to click and drag this down, and now my audio track is taller, and you'll see I now have a white line that goes through here. That's my volume line. You'll see there's 2 different waveforms. There's a left channel and a right channel, because it's a stereo track. And this is my volume line. And I am, in this case, going to simply click on this and drag it down all the way. And now I have eliminated the volume from that, which is great. So now I just hit the down arrow on my keyboard there to go to the end of that clip. And now I need to insert my actors in. So here's my first clip here. I'm going to scan ahead until we actually start working here. And we're about here.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes, the police, open up.
What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for the beginning of the dialogue. And this is about where it is. So again, I'm going to use the I to mark an endpoint. And I just want to grab the first 2 sentences, the knock, knock, who's there. And then we're going to cut to a different angle.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Very quick, right? It's not a lot. I hit the O. And now I can either click and drag this down like this, or I can use an insert. So down here we have an insert or overwrite button. You see insert, what I love about Adobe and a lot of products nowadays, all their shortcuts are in little parentheses next to it. So I know the insert is the comma key. I can just use that on my keyboard. I find shortcuts are very helpful when editing because it makes it go faster. So that's my first one. Now I want to go to my second shot. I shot this all with one take. I didn't stop the recording at all. Normally I would do one recording in first angle, second recording second angle, third recording third angle, so it's easier to find the clips. I'm just going to scan ahead here and find that second shot.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who? This is shit.
So I got her doing dishes. I'm going back here for him doing dishes who.
Dishes who? Go ahead.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes the.
And I'm not being super precise with my edits just yet. I'll do that at the end once everything's on the timeline.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
And by the way, I'm using the space bar to start and stop the playback on this. It's another great shortcut. Instead of having to come up here and use the transport controls, I can use the space bar to start and stop my video clips.
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes the. Dishes. Dishes the police open up.
Oh.
I like that thing. So I take before that.
No. Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes the police open up.
I like that one. So now I have everything on my timeline down here that I need. Now with your timeline, nice feature, if you hit the backslash key, the one above the return key, it'll zoom out so you can see your entire timeline. And now I can see all my edits. So here's my establishing shot here. Here's all my clips. 1, 2, 3, 4 different video clips I'm using. 2 from the same angle, and 1 over the shoulder here, and 1 over the shoulder here. Now, next thing to do is just play back those transitions and see how well they play with each other.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes the police open up.
Now, we heard a couple spots where we repeated word because we didn't have the edit quite so nice. So let's go back to that first edit spot here.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
So it sounds like we caught it saying on the next track a little bit. So if I go here,
Dishes who?
right? Yeah. Oops. Now I lost where I am. I'm going to zoom out again. So your plus and minus keys at the top of your keyboard are your zoom in and out buttons.
Dishes.
Dishes who? Dishes who?
Yeah, so at the end of this, there's an end of her saying dishes again right here. I'm going to do a ripple delete. And what that does, so here are my toolbars. Right here, I've been using the move tool, or the selection tool, sorry. I've been using the selection tool in here, which is the shortcut V on the keyboard. And then it allows you to move things around. And also when you get to the ends of it, you can do little edits like this where I can move the end of the clip around. Because again, in nonlinear editing, I can do that. It's not destructive. That stuff's always there, even if I cut it off. But what I want to do is go ahead and change this third tool here. I come down to the ripple edit tool. That's what I want. And then I just want to take off a little bit here. So I want to take off like maybe a second. And I'm going to move it to the right. And what's going to happen is it's going to take away that clip, but it's also going to move the rest of the clips forward so that way there's no gap. And now I play it back.
Dishes who?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
It's not there. And then over here, right, she starts saying it too soon.
Dishes the police.
I'm going to show you one other cool trick. I'm going to undo that edit there because I'm going to do what's called a J-cut, which is a little fancy here. You may not do this, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. So I want this audio here to start underneath this video. So basically I want to use the audio from her next take when we're not looking at her. I want to hear her start speaking and then cut to her while she's in the middle of a sentence. So to do that, we need to get a little fancier. First, I'm going to move this up to video 2. And then I'm going to unlink the files as I showed you earlier. And I'm going to move this audio back to here. So that way we don't have her starting to say that dishes line too early. I'm going to turn my linking back on. I'm going to clip on here. I'm going to move this clip forward. So now she's going to start underneath the video clip while we're looking at him.
This is the police. Open up. This is the police. Open up.
It's very subtle. It's very common in a lot of TV and film, but that way we hear the audio before we see what's going on.
This is the police. Open up.
Now when we back out all the way, and then, of course I let that play out a little bit because I liked it. Now we have our establishing shot.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
This is the police. Open up.
Let's talk about adding titles and music. So let's add an opening title that's going to be over the establishing shot. We'll add some intro music at the beginning there, and then we'll add music at the end along with credits. So you can do this in either order, get the music first, get the whatever first. I'm going to show you, let's get the music first. Let's do that. So on the website, there's a list of a bunch of different places to get free music and things like that that don't have a copyright that you're allowed to use online. This is one of them, Pixabay. So right here, I'm going to click on the music, and there's different ways of searching for instrumental birthday. You can search for it with key terms, whatever. Go through and find something that you like. It could be a short thing, it could be a long thing. So for this, I searched comedy, and I came up with a list. And this one at the top sounds pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and hit download, and I'm going to, again, always choose where I'm downloading it to. I'm going to put it in the same project folder that I started for this project. So here's my project folder. I'm going to drop it in there. And now to easily get it in, I don't need to go back to the import screen. I'm going to show you another way of doing it. Right from the Finder window, I can go to that folder. And there it is. Now it's here already. I just click and drag it over here into my project area, and now it's in my project. And to bring this here to make it as part of my intro music, I'm just going to click it and drag it under a 2 here, and now it's in. Now of course it's way too long. I don't need it to be that long, so I'm going to cut it right around here and let it fade out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. I'm going to hit the C shortcut on my keyboard for cut. Now you see I have a little razor blade icon. I'm going to choose to cut it right here. Now I'm going to hit V again for the select tool. Click over here, and let's delete that part. And then I'm going to click on the end of it here, and to put a little dissolve on it, I'm going to say Shift D on my keyboard will create a, by default, a dissolve. So here we go.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
This is the police. Open up.
Now by default, a lot of music that's recorded is a little too loud for my liking in video. So I can, again, adjust the volume here, or I could say right click, go to audio gain, and just say adjust gain by -6. That's going to bring it down 6 dB. You can see now it's peaking at 6.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
And I like
This is
that.
the police. Open up.
Now let's add some music at the end for our credits. So I can use that same track. I'm just going to bring it over here to the end while she's laughing, and I'm going to click on the beginning there and create my dissolve in. And then we'll put the credits at the end there afterwards and adjust the timing once we do that. So over here, I'm going to add a little title for the introduction. So to do that, I'm going to use a template that already exists inside the program. Make it easy to start with, right? So let's change our workspace. I'm going to go to my workspaces and go down to captions and graphics and change to this new layout. So on the right here are a bunch of templates for different graphical items. And if you want to sort for just titles, you can type title in the search here, and these are all titles that you can use for your project that are built into the program that have things already involved with them, so you don't have to do a lot of work. It's a great way to start, especially when you're first learning how to do this. And with them, if you move your mouse over them, you can see a little preview. I'm going to use a basic title, and then we'll just edit the time. So once I drag it in onto my timeline here, you can see how long it is. I can shorten this up so it ends before we get to the next clip, and then I can click on the title right in the program on it there. Now it's selected. I can double click on it, and now I can say knock knock. Once I select the move tool again, or the select tool, I can click on it. I can move it around if I wanted to. On the right side here, you see I have a lot of different tools. I can change the font, I can change the size, the color. I could add a drop shadow to it if I wanted to. So I can do a lot of things. I can make it bigger this way. I could click on the corner and make the whole title bigger. What I do want to do is I want to make sure I keep this font in front of the building itself, because if it goes over here into the white of the sky, I'm going to lose the white of the title. So what it's in front of is very important when it comes to that regard. Again, I'm going to click on the end here, hit Shift D to add a little fade. So it's going to look like this.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Now, because it's also cutting the scene, I could just let it cut out.
Knock knock.
That's fine too. Now let's scroll to the end here and let's add some credits. We can even use the same basic title for our credits. So again, I'm going to click and, oops, I lost where it was. Bring that over. I can say starring Shannon and oops, Jared. Oops, I can't spell his name all of a sudden. And I can move that up so it's in the center here. And if there's even a little quick alignment features here, you know, I can make sure it's centered and centered that way. So I can use a lot of these tools. So if it's over here, right, I can click on this tool and this tool, and it'll make sure it's actually centered on the screen. So I can, that's one way of doing that. Let's zoom out on my timeline here, because I want to add, oops, I want to add another title at the end here. Need a little directed by sign. Now, again, I need to adjust this audio level. I'm going to show you a different way to do it now, because it's also very long. You know, it extends out way further than it needs to. We need to make sure we get rid of that, because if we don't get rid of it when we export a video, we're going to have this long piece of silence in the video. So we need to get rid of that part. So I'm going to, again, change my work layout. I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to go to the audio work layout. And this gives me some different features. You'll see when I click on a clip, I have the option to tell if it's dialogue, music, sound effects, or ambience. So I'm going to say this is music. And by doing that, it gives me these tools under the hood here that allows me to do some different things. So for one thing, it's on loudness. I don't want oh, that's a great feature right there. I just tried that for the first time. Under loudness, there's an auto match feature. So remember in the first clip, I told it to be lower manually. By auto matching it, it automatically made it lower than everything else. That's before auto match. I could just shut this feature off, and it's normal. So I could do that with this one too. I could click on this, tell it's music, and say auto match. So I'm going to do that for this one again. I like the auto match feature. That is very nice. Now the other thing I want to do is I only need this to be what? Look how long this is. From 8 minutes, or sorry, 8 seconds, right? 8 seconds to 19, 20. So that's like 12 seconds. Maybe make it a little longer so it fades out afterwards. So let's say we want a 20-second version of this audio. Now we could just cut it and fade it out like we did before, but I don't want to do that. I want to remix it so it's actually just 20 seconds. And that's under this duration feature. So I turn this on, and I want to select remix. I can now go ahead and tell it how long I want it to be. So right now it's at 1 minute 28 seconds. I want it to be 20 seconds. So I'm going to delete this 0, make that a 0 there, and make this a 0 here, make that a 0 there, so that's 20 seconds. Hit return. It's analyzing the clip now. Look at that, it made it 20 seconds. Just like that. Maybe that's a little too long, so let's make that 15 seconds. And there, make it shorter. And then I'm actually even gonna clip off some of that end. Just add a fade there. I do want to add one more fade of audio only right here. So I'm gonna again unlink it, click on the audio for the clip, fade it there, relink it. Still smoother sounding. Now with this essential audio thing, I could also select these clips right here and tell them that these are all dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue stuff here too, because you can reduce noise, reduce rumble, de-hum. There's a lot of things, enhance speech. I'm not going to do anything if it sounds pretty good for this project here, but I want you to be aware that that's there. So now that I'm done, I've watched it again, I like how it is, it's time to export it so we can actually upload it to YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit export. Now on this area right here, we need to make sure we name it. So we give it a name and tell it where it's going to go. So again, click on this right here and navigate to where you want to put it. I always like making a little exports folder inside my project. So if I have more than one export of a project that, sometimes I have multiple clips from the same project, I want to have a location where all the stuff I'm exporting goes. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to leave everything else as default and then hit the export button and it will export my video. Now that we've finished exporting it, and here it is, we can see it right here. Here's our final product. I know it's exported. It's time to upload to YouTube and then get it to our website on Weebly. So let's go back to our web browser now. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel. So once you're logged into your YouTube account, if you don't have one already, they're free to create. Right now I'm in my studio, or I could be on the main page of YouTube here like this. On the top right here, I have the plus button to create. So I'm going to click on this, and we're going to upload a video. Now from here, again, we can always select the file, or I can simply find it in my Finder, click and drag it and drop it in here, and now it's uploading. And while it's uploading, it lets me to do other features to it. So it already brings over the title that you gave your file. If you want to modify it, now's the time you can modify it. You can also write a description. Descriptions are very helpful on YouTube for people finding your content if you want them to find it. It's automatically going to process a thumbnail down here. You can also upload your own thumbnail if you wanted to. And if you want to add it to playlists, like I'm going to add this to my 102 playlist just because I like to keep it organized, you probably don't need to do that. One thing you do need to do though is say whether or not this is made for kids. This is about content safety moderation for young viewers of YouTube. This is not made for kids, so we don't have to file some age restriction stuff on there. And then I hit the next button. Now here, add subtitles. I didn't go over this yet, so we're going to go back a step and show you how to do this while it's uploading. So inside my editing area, go back to the editing view because I like that the best. On the top left here, there's a text feature, and if I click on transcript, it transcribed as we brought it in. I can create a transcript from here, right here, as far as captions go. So there's a little CC button here. I can click on this, or I can click on the captions there to create it. And I'm going to leave it as subtitle default and create captions. And the reason why I'm doing this is it's very user-friendly, because you do have people that are hard of hearing and whatnot that want to read the captions. I'm sure if you're an avid TikTok person, you're used to reading captions at this point anyways. So it's created them, and now I can click on the three dots here and I can export the SRT file. And again, I'm going to save that in the same folder as my exported video and save that. And once I do that, you can see here it is. It's showing the captions. It shows how it's going to show up there. I can go back to my web browser and I can go ahead and add my captions file. So I'm going to upload a file with timing. And there's the file. And now I have captions as part of my video. And that's something I encourage you to do on all your videos. It's inside Premiere Pro now. It's something that's easy to do. You can even do it on the export as well. We didn't do it this time, but we could. Hit next. So it did ding me for copyright because it notices that audio we use actually there is a copyright owner to it, but they allow us to use it on YouTube. So it's something if you're monetizing later on, you might have a problem with, but for this purpose, it's not a problem. I'm going to hit next. We have options of private, unlisted, or public. We need to make this public if we want it on our website. If it's anything besides public, it will not work. So I'm going to hit publish. And now we have a link to our video. I'm going to copy that link and we're going to go over to our Weebly editor here. Here we are in the Weebly editor for the site I created in the previous video for this class. Now we want to add that video we just copied onto this page. So we're going to go to the videos page on here and we're going to drag over a title. I call this the knock knock joke, so we know what the video is called. And we're going to come down here on the left to where it says YouTube and drag this element over, drop it in, click inside of here, and right here we're going to paste in our link and click anywhere, and there our video is now on our website, and all we need to do is hit publish to make it live. And if we go over to the website now, and click on it, there it is. And that's how we go from import to edit to export and publishing on our website the knock knock joke video. Any questions on the process, please reach out to me and we'll figure it out. Have fun editing and enjoy the process.